Dead leaf litter and rubbish rolling down the street. A distant siren. The toll of a passing tram. Derelict terraces beside a subway. Plants that flower in the shape of an orange bird. A university college with barbed wire fencing. Rain, spitting. An arch of glowing colours cutting through the heavens. A dog walking a man. Hungry and in desperate need of a bathroom, I find myself smoking a cigarette outside the entrance to Melbourne Cemetery. Cars rushing past, a darkening sky, the flick of ash, falling pollen, angry shouts nearby and hands waving. I walk 6 steps and smother the butt of my cigarette onto the bin before disposing of it. Then I turn and walk through the black gates of the cemetery. The first grave I look at is in Greek. The second has a miniature statue of a pug on it. Both are adorned with bright flowers that contrast against the shiny black of the granite slabs. The grand nature of these shrines is what strikes me most. I walk further into the thicket of stone and rock. It is not long before I am deviating off the main road, which is a black tar, and following a narrow cement path that is cracked with age. Further in, there is less opulence. Black, classic headstones, yet ones that still have flowers. I cannot tell whether they are real or fake. None of the flowers I observe are wilting. This strikes me too, and I decide that they must be fake. This land is littered with colourful pops of plastic that will eventually break down, become microplastics, and outlive everyone on the planet. I am noting the pervasive wallaby grass and blooming billy buttons when it begins to pour down with rain. All of a sudden, I am running through the fat drops of water. I follow the path back towards the tar, which is now dotted with darker patches. In the distance, I spot a pergola and beeline straight for it. The fierce wind is whipping into me, and I feel my body becoming more and more soaked with each passing moment. Yet then I am undercover. I gather myself. I look around, surrounded by falling rain and death, and it occurs to me that I am no longer in the city. I am lost in a labyrinth of crosses and saints. There isn't a soul in sight. I sit down, cross my legs, my jeans damp against my skin, and I'm hit with the realization that I am stranded in the cemetery and nightfall is near. The rain has softened only ever so slightly, and the pergola is creaking in the wind. In spite of my current predicament, it feels nice to be alone. I take further notice of the shapes that jut out of the ground around me. Despite their decrepit feel, they are so solid-looking. They stand the test of time, unlike all the names that are engraved on them. Yet nothing in this world escapes entropy. I pull out my notebook, which is now wet, and some of the writing is blurry from the raindrops. I flick to a new page. The blue ink has seeped through in certain spots, yet I write around and underneath it. Loud contemplation, in loving memory, scrolled in flowy fashion. A street sign that says East Avenue, lush trees standing tall, marking their presence like godly giants. Last night, my cousin got locked in this exact cemetery whilst on a date. That is how I know that the gates close soon and I'm still stuck in the middle of it. I surrender to the moment and take out my silver cigarette case. I watch the rain pelt down on a shiny grave, deciding that everything is exactly how it should be. One ought to see a cemetery in the pouring rain. It is desolately crowded and exhibits a sense of melancholy that feels holy. The rain eases off. This could be my one and only break, so I make a run for it, utterly flaunting my youth as I zoom past grave after grave. I weave through Melbourne Cemetery at full speed. It turns out that I had not strayed all that far from the gates I first entered in from, and I am soon recklessly racing across a busy road. I keep running, searching for an awning of some kind that will provide security from the wetness that threatens to seep into my bones. I spot another dry sanctuary on the corner of a quiet street and head straight for it. Once I am safe, I take in my new surroundings. A blue sign informs me that I've stumbled upon Newry Street. I seem to be in a residential area dominated by terraces. A drain is dripping in front of me, overwhelmed by the rainwater that bucketed down moments prior. By this point, the streetlights are glowing, and with this break in the rain, I ponder my next move. To wander or not to wander. I turn a corner and begin walking down the unknown street, the cityscape looming large ahead of me. Floral-scented air, the dampened doof of music, cold legs, cars flying past in fits of bright light. Where am I? Everything is new. Then, as if on cue, I read a sign for a supermarket that confirms my location. Carlton. I should have known, but I am new to this city. My stomach grumbles and I still need to piss. Maybe the antidote for such ailments is fresh surroundings and a decent dose of disorientation. The flat footpath turns into a bike path. A bat flies overhead. I walk through what appears to be the grounds of an apartment block, yet then I reach the streets once more. Carlton Primary School is dark when I walk past it, void of life and purpose. This area is unfamiliar. Paired with the darkness, I grow more cautious of my surroundings. The houses, which are not emanating much light, take on a different form. They seem unknown and foreboding. I become lost once more. Shadowy puddles, padding footsteps, a man in a hoodie. I turn right, quickening my pace as I walk back in the direction of the cemetery until I hit a main road with a tram line. The difference in vibe is immediate. After the tenebrosity of the seemingly abandoned back streets, I have re-entered civilization. I pass a pub called Green Man's Arms. Then I stop at a free payphone, admiring the near anachronistic nature of it. The only number I know off by heart is my mother's, and she would not approve of my drifting at night. Yet I have made it through the dark streets. This strip is well lit, and when I walk past Cinema Nova, I suddenly know exactly where I am. Lygon Street. I am hit with revelations. To know where you stand in this world, you must become lost from time to time. To divert from the well-trodden path is to find the well-trodden path. To get sick, go to a cemetery in spite of ominous clouds. I stop outside a restaurant that is lit with soft lamplight. It looks warm. In the center of the room, looming over the diners, are purpley pink lights in the shape of a tree. It is strikingly fantastical. It seems to be saying, "Come in, join us." I continue on straight, past all the fairy lights, and stumble across live Egyptian music. The scene is like so. A balcony, open yet undercover, is filled with people who are sitting at tables, and in front of them, on a bar stool, sits a solo musician with his instrument, captivating the crowd like a snake charmer. A man joins in on the song from his seat at a nearby table. What are certain places, if not the people who occupy them? As I walk away, the music fades out. I look to my right and observe a brief hiatus of buildings. So I cross the road, and then I am standing in front of a sign that reads Argyle Square. Detouring off Lygon Street, I enter the park. I have passed by it previously, but this time I notice the tall columns of blue light that guard the center of the square like modern-day grotesques that lack the fear factor. That is when a remote-controlled car comes screeching toward me. It spins around, doing donuts in neon pink style. I'm quite convinced that this square was not built with the intention of hosting mad donut parties, but I am all for it. I watch as the child places the car onto the stage. Then the car is flying at top speed off of it and cutting through the cold air for a split second. The father is cheering, saying, "That was awesome. See an open, flat space and make it your racetrack." It is time for another cigarette. After my breath of fresh air, I continue straight ahead, passing by Italian restaurants intermingled with fast food chains and art display studios and various shopfronts until I hit the curtain. It is a quiet night at the hotel. The seats outside are empty and frosted with glistening water. I am on track to soon be in the thick of the CBD. I make a right at Victoria Street, wander down, cross the road, and I am almost hit by a rogue car that clearly did not see the red or does not have much regard for road rules. Nevertheless, I am alert. Towers of light, windows into life lived closer to the heavens, the wails of an ambulance, drunken hoots. The city never sleeps. It yawns and yells and pulses life through its veins like a bass line. I think back to the cemetery, to its vastness, and to its lack of lights and sounds and crowds of people. Only a few hours ago, I was isolated, yet swimming in celebrations of life. Now I am surrounded by people, yet wading through rivers of obscurity. My fur hat is still damp as I cross Swanston Street and meander down Franklin. I pass a well-lit joint that is the source of raucous laughter and loud music. I get closer. Established in 1853, as indicated by their fakely rusted sign, Captain Melville is a 2-story bluestone terrace completed with fairy lights and hanging pots of assorted plants. Despite the heightened energy of the many people that crowd around on the lower balcony, the softness of the place is inviting. I hesitate at the curb. One cannot avoid bodily functions for too long, and so I cross the road, walk straight toward the warmth, skip up the stairs and push open the doors. Colourful liquor, lit candles, a cocktail shaker, the smell of freshly grated orange, a long list of food, glorious food, and a sign for the bathroom.